King Productions presents the BearDown Corner with your host, Sergeant Cornholio. Hey everybody, this is Sergeant Cornholio, and welcome to this week's edition of the BearDown Corner. So, we're just going to dive right into it. We got some off-season stories. This is basically what we're doing until things start ramping up come training camp. So here's the current, what we have found for you. CeeDee Lamb at a recent fundraiser talked to the media and basically just straight out said, I'm a number one, George Pickens is a number one, and we have two number ones on the field. None of this 1A, 1B bullshit. You got two number ones on the field. So if he's that confident, Cowboy fans, I'll just straight up say this. If you can keep Dak Prescott upright, he might be able to make a few throws as long as those boys can get open. But if they can't, then we all know that this trade went right down the crapper, and Jerry Jones needs to go back to the drawing board. I hope it works out for Pickens. I really do. He hasn't had a true quarterback at the helm since he came into the league. Kenny Pickett isn't. Russell Wilson was a freaking fixture stop for a 1-year gap. He hasn't had a chance with a real quarterback. So I hope that plays out well for him, and maybe him and Lamb have a really good season. This will be Lamb's first year where he hasn't had to split reps with anyone. He's been bombarded by guys that just can't get the damn job done. They've been nice little adding pieces, right? You got to have that salt and pepper, but a true number two or even another number one opposite, he's never had in his career. Closest he's had was Des Bryant in his rookie season. But you know what? That's another discussion for another day. That's that story for Des Bryant, George Pickens, and the wide receiver corps of the Dallas Cowboys. 49er fans, Fred Warner is closing in on a contract extension to go along with other extensions they've reached this season with George Kittle. More recently, Brock Purdy on a new 5-year, $265 million contract. This makes sense. So, you got them locking up the quarterback position so they don't have to restart that crap. You got trying to lock up your defensive centerpiece in the middle. You already got Mr. Bosa, Nick Bosa out on the edge. So you got your line covered, right? Like they had to lose some guys this offseason. They did, right? Dre Greenlaw is no longer there. Hufnaga at safety is no longer there. Offensive side of the ball, you got rid of Debo. You lost one of your offensive linemen. It has been a bit of a you lose some, you gain some. And what I mean by that is you're locking in a core that you now know you can build around for the next 5 years, at least with quarterback locked up, right? You're going to have to utilize that draft and get cheap bargain contracts in free agency. That's going to be how you build your Super Bowl teams now. But that $53 million for locking up who you consider your starting quarterback, man, that's a bargain. Cowboys fans are like livid. They're paying $60 million for Dak Prescott, and they haven't even won more than one playoff game in his career. So the fact that as 49er fans, Purdy is a master of the Kyle Shanahan system. So you're getting a contract value, that's the word I want to use, at that for Brock Purdy at quarterback. Now you build around. You already replenished the wide receiver corps. You locked up his safety net in George Kittle. You brought in some guys who you're going to give an opportunity to try and start on bargain contracts. Draft to fill some few needs from this previous draft. Honestly, I don't see the 49ers necessarily falling back this year. They're going to be a competitive team. You don't have the amount of guys on your roster, the way they have scouted these guys, first and foremost, whether it was out of college or current NFL. They have scouted everyone on that team to such a T, because they know that they can't go out and give this money to all of the guys. Now it dwindles down, right? They have top paid players at premium positions all over the board now. Now it's time to let those guys actually shine and show what they're worth. And if they aren't, they'll get the boot. But Fred Warner's getting locked up. They already locked up offensive side of the ball for everyone. Like, Niners fans, if I'm you, I'm looking at this in the most positive outlook of it, because you didn't want to re-hit that quarterback reset again. That would have been the most stupidest thing you could have done. Like, watching Purdy, there were times last year where, you know what, maybe he could have got the ball out a little faster. And then there was times where he got that thing out so freaking zip quick, the guy was already 15 yards down the field because he knew exactly where he was going to go. One cut and go. And he had that thing gone. I just seen an Instagram video the other day of George Kittle knocking off a touchdown. Dude, he made that thing look effortlessly. And he stood in the pocket while he got hit. And I ain't talking about Kittle catching the ball. I'm talking about Brock Purdy throwing that goddamn thing. This kid, Mr. Irrelevant, like, I don't know what his career is going to end up like, but man, I'm excited to watch. Just as I'm excited to watch my quarterback too, Caleb Williams. But you know what? We're talking about Brock Purdy. So as a 49er fan, I'd be excited. People who have to go against the 49ers, not so excited, because you're going to have a hard team to play. They're not done yet. They're just locking in some of their vet cores that, honestly, all these guys are under 30. I think Christian McCaffrey is probably the oldest of the bunch. And let's be serious, $20 million for a running back who has two bad Achilles that are, like, he might as well just retire and give them cap relief. He ain't going to be the same this upcoming season like he tried to come back last year from whatever the hell that Achilles tendonitis bullshit. He's done. But if they can get any value out of him while they still have maybe a year left out of his gas tank, fuck, they'll drain him dry and do it. Let him walk off into the sunset after that. But excited for Brock Purdy. The man finally gets paid after the rookie contract of Mr. Irrelevant. All right. Veteran safety Jamal Adams, former Seattle Seahawk and New York Jet, has said he would like to play for the New York Jets again. Now, what that means for them is they'll get a former two-time All-Pro, all right, who at the time did that with the Jets, got traded to Seattle. You know, he was solid, but he never really did find that same form, right? Until. So he was playing around on a couple teams last year, Detroit being one of them. Former defensive coordinator and now head coach Aaron Glenn of the New York Jets. Glenn might have liked what he's seen. There's been some murmurs about that. So at 29 years old for a safety who I'm sure if he's primed and ready to go like a lot of these dudes are, he now has that knowledge, right? He has that ability to look at the field in a more slower way because he has seen it more times than you and I combined. All right. So I think this could be one of those comeback stories, honestly. I think if Jamal Adams went to the New York Jets and Aaron Glenn implemented his defensive system with a healthy cast of misfits like he has over there right now, let's not forget, we got Sauce Gardner on the outside edge. You got a bunch of young, hungry sons of bitches down in the trenches. Like, this is a group defensively who they never really were bad defensively. They just couldn't get the goddamn ball rolling offensively. And then by the time they did, it was already too late because they got pounded for 45 minutes into the ground last year. So New York Jet fans, I think this would probably, he doesn't have to be a starter. He doesn't have to be a starter, but give him a chance. Give him a chance. This is a dude who started hot in his career, dropped off a little bit, and now he wants to rejuvenate that. So let's give him a chance, right? Why not? There's a lot worse you could have on your team. Someone that doesn't even know left foot from right foot. Like really, at the end of the day, you'll be getting a defensive back / safety that has 21.5 sacks, 6th best all time for that area. Yeah. Anyway, Derrick Henry signs a 2-year, $30 million contract extension, keeping him through 2027. I want to take a moment for us to really appreciate Derrick Henry. This man is pushing the over 30 running back mantra like it's nothing. It doesn't even exist in his world. He has taken care of his body like a temple. And to be honest, when I was checking out some things today, I see no reason why, if he can't keep what I know, it's year after year, beating after beating, but it doesn't look like he's slowed down. Not from last year. So if he keeps this up, dude, he could be on. He's only 7,000 or so away from Emmitt Smith. I'm just saying, like, let's make the real talk here. Derrick Henry has an opportunity, Super Bowl or not, whatever. Just put that shit aside, to go after the all-time rushing record. I'm not sure where he's at touchdowns, but I'm pretty sure he's up there too. But I'm talking the all-time rushing record, not a Walter Payton. All right? We're going to break that Emmitt Smith's record. 18,000 rushing yards. There is no reason I don't think Derrick Henry could accomplish that. If they keep their offensive line together the way they have the last freaking decade, solid, the Ravens could easily win a Super Bowl with Derrick Henry. And if he lasts enough seasons, there's no reason he couldn't pile up enough yards. I think this is the beginning of just, you'll see the 2-year contracts, 1-year contracts, whatever, but he will probably make a run at it. Why wouldn't you? Not that far back. Emmitt Smith ran till he was like fucking 36, 37. Hell, Marcus Allen went till he was 38. Those are some names. But anyway, Derrick Henry, 2-year extension, keeps him there for at least the next 3 seasons. Contract talks between Bengals and Mr. Defensive End Hendrickson. Pretty much stalemate, dog shit, and it sounds like he doesn't even want to play for the team this year. You know, that, I look at this from a few different ways. I look at it from the aspect that you signed a contract, and now you're not going to honor that contract because you're not getting the extension that you want immediately. Snap of the fingers. You know what? If you play out the year, play out the goddamn year. What, you're going to sit? You're going to sit on the bench, get fined? Not get paid at all? Like, I don't know. I know you don't want that cancer in the room. Like, better off to trade him at this point. But who are you going to get to replace him? Unless you already drafted his replacement. But I'm sure you don't got anyone else on the other side on the defense there, Bengals. So, like, just throw the man a 1-year bone. Fucking throw him some extra bonus money this year. Just get him on the field and whatever. If he wants out of town next year, see you later. But, I don't know. You signed an extension. Not even an extension. You signed your contract back when you signed. So, he was drafted in the 3rd round by the New Orleans Saints. Trey Hendrickson. This man has had 2 back-to-back 17-sack seasons. Okay. And I get it. He wants to get paid. He wants that 30-plus mil for a defensive end premium right now at the age of 30. Because you know what? He could dock off in the next few years, honestly. But I can't argue with him fighting for that livelihood. But it irks me when these guys, it's like, okay, you know, I know I want a contract extension. Well, okay, they've earned it. Sometimes not everybody can get paid. And it's unfortunate, but the way of business. But there's just better ways of going about it, I feel. Anyway, I don't know. You signed the contract. You've committed to that team. Finish the damn thing out or whatever. You're fucking sit on the bench then, dude. Sit on the bench. It hits me from two different sides. I understand, but you also made a commitment. So just finish out your damn commitment. But anyway. And to finish off this week's Around the League, we got a little interesting story here for you. So remember Chiefs superfan, Chiefsaholic, right? The guy that would dress as the wolf and would cheer at every single Chiefs game. So this dude's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. So back in 2022, while there was a game going on, this son of a bitch went and tried to rob a fucking Kansas City bank. This fucking guy. This guy went to go and rob a Kansas City bank, and he got nailed, got caught, got sent for prison, or got sent for sentencing. So he's serving out right now the original 14-year sentence. This dude's only 30. Okay, so let's do the timeline. He's 30 now. He's going to finish serving out his 14 years he has remaining on that term. And then he was recently sentenced for another 32 years for a previous 9 robberies the son of a bitch had done to, I think he stole, it was like almost $850,000, $900,000 between these littler banks on his way to the big city to fund his Instagram account and all his endeavors and all that shit. I guess he was just trying to live his best life off everybody else's penny. I don't know, like, the dude tried, but now he's gonna pay for it. He won't get out of jail until he's 76. When he's 44, he'll go from whatever state prison he's in now to federal. Like, these are federal charges. He's hooped. But anyway, that's it. That's all. That's good for me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this week's quick episode of the BearDown Corner. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you all have a great week. Be safe. And you can catch us at 6 o'clock General Mountain Time every Tuesday on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and of course YouTube. Bye-bye for now, and until the next time.